Hello, what's good, people? This is your man, Justice, the People Disciple. People's people, we back on your way again, people. Man, I'm here again to give you another disturbing video that was made in contrary to the Wadamaya meeting Drubinski in Kigali, in Rwanda. The Wadamaya was talking with Drubinski about the things that he does in Gambia and particularly in some of the West African countries. And Drubinski was saying definitely some of the things that I did, definitely they were not okay. And he apologized for that. But there is another guy called himself as Ibrahim, and he say on his take on those videos that Wadamaya made with Drubinski. And this man goes on to saying Wadamaya shouldn't be saying some of the things that he says to Drubinski, because he said Wadamaya technically forced Drubinski to apologize, and that is not even the case. It's not even close to the reality. And he goes on to say Wadamaya is one of the African brothers who forced travelers to go to China, and now if everything is working in China, why would they go? Everything is working good in Africa, why would they move to China? And he said up to now Wadamaya is based in China. Well, Wadamaya is not right now, is not based in China. I've been following Wadamaya's work, and then now he moved back to his native country, Ghana. He's staying there, he's doing his things all over Africa, but he is based in Ghana now. And from the brother he is talking, he said, how about the country that he came from, Sierra Leone? Which simply means up to this day, that he's making the video, he is not back in his country, he is in foreign land. And some of the things that he has to say was Drubinski was doing a good job, he continued with his job, and Wadamaya is doing what he's doing is not good. But he said Wadamaya is now beginning to lose the touch of reality. How he make that thing up, I don't understand. And he said in Africa, he said 80% of the women population are drowned into prostitution.
It means you're beginning to lose touch of reality, because prostitution is the way of living for 80% of women in Africa. Prostitution, you know, the few that don't get involved in prostitutions, they are there, the excellent ones, you know, but a lot of our younger sisters as well as our older sisters, it is either to do it to where they stand by the street corners at night, or they are visiting, you know, public offices during the day, you know, just to make a living for themselves and their family. It's all prostitution, because there's no opportunities, especially for women. So prostitution is a way of living for African women.
And he said this population range from the primary school kids. Technically, we are talking about 7 years. In most of the African countries, 7 years you go to primary level. So from 7 years, he's talking about up to 40 to 45 years. This is the target group that he made. 80% of the population, are you serious now, Ibrahim? What I want to tell people, for them to understand, there is no denial about that in Africa, because most of the countries in Africa are colonized countries. And we all know what does the colonization mean. It's another super countries coming to this country and leech every life living stuff in this country. It's like a super predator coming to prey upon people. And these countries have been stuck into this position for 300, some countries close to 400 years. And after when this colonization finishes, these people move into their country. There is no program for these people to develop themselves. The governments come to the power, but the government don't have any proper studies to put their people back on the track. It's now that most of the countries are trying to get their shit together and then come back to their feet and try to help their country. Right now, if you look at the countries in Africa, you find out there are most of the countries now trying to come back, you know, to help their people, to empower them. But most of the countries still, they cannot get things together because of the colonization hit so bad. The people get to the point whereby they don't even believe they can make the things of their own. No, they don't believe it. And one thing that I want you to understand, for the viewers, you have to understand one thing. There is a story that has been shown in the world. And this story, they call it premature cognitive commitment. If you have been trained to do something for a certain period of time, and after your generation is done, the generation behind you, they also come and find you doing the same thing, and they also follow the same trend. If it continues for 3 generations, it's very difficult for people to break out away from this kind of stuff. And the whole time that colonialism has been in Africa, how many generations are we talking about? We're talking about close to 40 generations, following the same pattern of something, doing something that is off, not your self-benefit. You're doing something, but it's not your self-benefit. Everything that the colonial nation does is to do things to make sure the super predators of the nation that colonized them, to do everything to the benefit of those people. So now what happens, you find these countries, they find themselves in the shadow of the valley of death. You have people become president, they don't even know how to rule the country. It's hard. But out of that frustration and out of that poverty and that hardship, you still have one of the world's most decent women in Africa. You have role models. I'm talking about women in Africa. You have African women decent. You have one of the loving and caring and sincere women coming from Africa. Up to now, if you travel to the mainland of Africa, you meet women. They are modesty. They are in a modest life. You meet women if you meet them, you just want to look at them and say, "Oh my God, these are women of women. These are serious women, decent women." So for somebody to come and stand here and then say 80% of the African women population drown in poverty, how do you get this statistics, brother? These are not lightweight words. You're talking about heavy words here. In the world scale, you are not talking about small time stuff here. You're talking about big stuff. You have to be accounted for the things that you say, brother. This is what I'm saying. You cannot just jump behind the camera and start saying everything that you want to say without calculating it. Things that you say, they have to stick to the corner. You have to make sure your things are highly calculated. If you go to Africa, there is no denial about that. You have some women, they don't get it together. You have some women, they have a very low education, and even it's not education, they just find themselves in a condition that they cannot take care of their shit. But so as in Europe here, Europe with all the wealth that they accumulate, Europe with all the knowledge that they have, Europe with all everything that we learn it from the Europeans. Our education system is modeled after European education system. Our development system is modeled after European development system. But if you come to Europe, you have certain countries, some of the people that women are doing and people in general are doing, they don't have to do it. They are not even in a position to do it. They don't need to do that. But still they are doing those kind of stuffs. So what I'm saying, what a human being does for his own life, you cannot take that and brand the whole of the existence of the entire people. Again, I'm saying this to you. If you come to Europe, you will find a very decent women in Europe who don't play. They wake up, they want to do serious stuff. But if you go to certain part of Europe, you will find some certain, even within those countries that you find those decent women, you go to certain places, you will find some of the women that you don't want to deal with. They're living in all kind of wicked lives. But you cannot take that to brand the whole of Europe with that. No. This is what I'm saying. There is no one size that fit all. In Africa right now, the whole world has to come together and help Africa. But one of the biggest jobs rested on the shoulders of African brothers and African sisters. Because if you travel to Africa, you know definitely we're still lagging behind. We need to pull up our strength. We need to pull up our stuff and then try to help each other. If you come to Europe, whereby everything was being projected into this civilization for the last 400 to 500 years, still you can see people in their worst condition. You even think, but this guy, is he really living in Europe, really? How about in Africa, whereby everything was being taken away from there for the last 400 years? How do you expect to go there and find people get everything together? This is a common sense. I'm saying all these things to say you cannot confine an individual to a country. You cannot say Wadamaya cannot travel to China and then come back to Ghana and do something. I think that is beneath you, because everybody, Europeans used to travel to Africa because of things were fucked up in Europe. Yeah, the life was unbearable. You cannot live it. This is the reason why most of them travel to Africa and they get the things that they get in Africa and they come and build Europe. And for you to say an African sister or a brother has to be confined in his country and then try to live there. If Wadamaya was not having the chance to go to China, maybe some of the things that he's doing right now, he could have never done them. There are a lot of Africans in Africa right now who would want to do some of the things Wadamaya is doing, or different things that Wadamaya is doing. They all want to do something to keep their continent up, to make sure their country right, but they cannot do it because of the kind of conditions that they live in. They cannot support their ambitions, their dreams. So this is the responsibility on the shoulder of every brother. But for you to come out in front like this and try to slay the female population in Africa in this wicked light, this wicked manner, I think definitely you have done a very poor job here. You disrespect the whole virtue of the human population in Africa. If you know what I know, I've traveled to some of the countries in Africa, not more, but most countries in West Africa, I travel into them, and I've seen women. These are not just women, these are women's women. If you see them, you just respect them. Even if they don't speak to you, even if you don't even talk, if you just see them, you just earn them the respect. They have the moniker of it. If you just see them, you just respect them. And I've traveled to Europe also. Certain women, you see them in Europe, you just give them the moniker because they just earn it. But you cannot just say 80%, brother, that is too much. Even 40% is too much. I don't know how you make this. It's true, there is a work that needs to be done in Africa. All the world has agreed onto that. Well, Africa, we was the only country that has been given out to everybody. Every civilization you see, they suck out in Africa. Every civilization you see, they suck out in Africa. Europe, they suck out in Africa. America, they suck out in Africa. Chinese, they suck out in Africa. Indians, they suck out in Africa. Every civilization you see, they suck in Africa. They suck it all up in Africa to develop themselves. In return, do you know what happens? We don't get shit. Not is the weakness of the presidents or something, but because of we are being programmed purposely to cater for the other people's need, not for our need. And I suggest to you as Ibrahim, I don't know which country you live in, Europe here or America, whatever you live in, I'm not interested. What I suggest to you to go back and look at your video and then put yourself in the video and view yourself. Things that you say, you will know where they're coming from. You are the kind of brothers that lives in Africa and you don't have any interest of African stuff. And you always looking for some stuff to blame, to put your anger and your frustration. You always looking for somebody to put the blame on. This is our cross. We all have to come together and carry it. The whole world come together and put us into this. It's us who have to come together and lift us ourselves. Nobody is not gonna come for us. So things that you said, I think they are very much irresponsible, and then I leave you to it, and then you have to go and look at your video and know that the job that you've done there is wicked and it's not up to the stitch. It's not. I think you have to use this to make it your study guide, because of you cannot just jump behind the camera and start saying all kind of foul stuff. Man, with that I'm out, man. It's your man, just people desire.